Today's commercial breeders need maximum performance levels from their herds. They're raising beef and they're paid by the pound. This is a terminal production, which means they sell everything. We'll be speaking with some ranchers who will share their data and show us how their herds perform. Let's get started. I'm here with Jerome Urbanovsky in South Texas at Rancho de Sueños with a beautiful set of commercial females. Jerome, tell us about yourself in this operation.
Jen, I've been a purebred Santa Gertrudis breeder for 41 years now, and here at Rancho de Sueños we wanted to accumulate a set of Santa Gertrudis or Santa Gertrudis cross females, which are called Star 5s. And that's what we've selected, is Santa Gertrudis Star 5 females that are half Santa Gertrudis and half Hereford.
How did you get started with this operation?
Well, my very best friend in the world, Tony McCorvey, wanted to purchase some land here near Lockhart, Texas, and it was scrub oak, and he developed a beautiful setting and then wanted to have the very best cattle that he could have in the world. And we sat down and had a very extensive interview process, and we selected the Star 5 Santa Gertrudis, which would be crossed with Herefords, as our base mother cow herd.
What were some of the key things that he was looking for?
Tony told me that he wanted the best commercial female in the world, and I felt the best commercial female in the world be the Star 5 Santa Gertrudis. And so we wanted to find enough Star 5 Hereford Santa Gertrudis females to stock his ranch up to 500 females.
Explain to us what a Star 5 heifer is.
A Star 5 Santa Gertrudis means that she is half Santa Gertrudis and half some other breed. It can be any other breed. We've selected the Santa Gertrudis crossed with Herefords.
And what was your rationale for using this Santa Gertrudis Star 5?
They are moderate frame, very efficient in rate of gain. They take care of themselves, they're very heat tolerant. They milk extremely well, a desirable udder attachment, and perfect teat size to wean a calf that's over 50% of the mother's body weight.
So it sounds like these are pretty low maintenance animals.
They are low maintenance animals, and that's what we were looking for. Cows that could get out, hustle, and turn grass into meat.
So we know that they're low maintenance. Now, what do they do to your pocketbooks?
They're a profit generator for the ranch here. We weaned a 95% calf crop. We have 422 females. We weaned over 400 calves that we were able to market. We thought that was remarkable, and that's the kind of results that we expect and we've been getting every year.
Wow. So you guys seem to understand where your herd is at. It sounds like you keep records.
We do have records. We do have a vision. The cows have what's called Santa Gertrudis Star 5 papers on them. Each female does, but we don't keep up with each individual calf. We sell them by the truckload. We've been topping the market, and we're very proud of that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, you keep talking about pedigrees of the Star 5 females that seem to be the base of the herd. What's the advantage of starting out with known genetics?
Predictability, reputation from the people that we buy the cattle from, and we think that's very important. All of the females that we've bought here were raised by the Nunley brothers in Sabinal, Texas. Currently, Jenna, we're using very high quality black Angus bulls that we're buying from Gardner and from other top Angus breeders.
And so what is the benefit of using the Santa Gertrudis mothers?
They are the perfect mother cow for today's environment. You can take the Star 5 Santa Gertrudis female, breed her to a non-Brahman animal, and if you use an Angus, then it will certify as certified Angus beef.
Now, there are many people in your and Mr. McCorvey's situation. What are some tips that you would have for them about starting up an operation of this kind, and what things that they should look for in their early selection process?
The first thing that we would suggest is that they be in the grass business first. Make sure your fences and your grasses are in good shape to support the cows, so you're off to a good start. And have a goal. Have a vision and have a goal. Our goal was to produce high quality calves that would top the market with consistent females that get out and take care of themselves. We didn't want to have a lot of maintenance, a lot of manpower involved. We wanted them to be uniform, so that's why we bought all Star 5s that were of the same breeding.
Now, you speak of having a goal and a vision. Does everyone's goal and vision have to be the same?
It does not. It does not. My goal, I'm a purebred Santa Gertrudis breeder myself, and my vision is different than the vision that we have here at the Rancho de Sueños.
And each of those visions can be made to work with Santa Gertrudis females?
They can, purebred or the Star 5. They represent many different options that people can have. If someone prefers a black cow, you can have a Santa Gertrudis crossed with an Angus or a Brangus, and that can be a Star 5 also. And you can also have the same benefits of a real hustling type female.
Where would you suggest that they go for their knowledge base?
I would recommend that they use the AgriLife Extension Service, which is funded by the state. It's available in every county. Those people are knowledgeable, trained, and can offer good advice. And take that advice and then use their own common sense, their own desire, and their own goal to manage that to what they want it to be.
Well, can I speak to Tony?
Yes, Tony McCorvey would be the person that you'd need to talk to that can give you the full dream that he came up with.
Wonderful. Jerome, thank you so much for your expertise, knowledge, and experience. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jana.
We're here with Mr. Tony McCorvey, owner of Rancho de Sueños. Tony, Jerome told us earlier that there was a plan that you guys hatched out before you started this project. Tell us about that plan.
Well, Jerome and I talked about it, and Jerome was in the purebred Santa Gertrudis business, and I couldn't commit to that, but I wanted to be in the cattle business, and I told him that I wanted to be able to raise cows and take them to auction, and I wanted to have great cattle.
And tell us about the progression from buying the land to manicuring it, getting the grass together before the cattle came.
My wife and I were going to her family reunion, and we cut across and we saw a for sale sign. And so I contacted the folks, found out they were members of the King Ranch family, the Clayburg family, and we finally, after about a year and a half, made a deal, and I was able to buy this land. And when we bought this place, it was just solid trees. There was 1 acre of clear ground on 844 acres. In talking with Mike Reynolds with the Clayburg family, and talking with him, he told me if I wanted to learn about the King Ranch that I would buy a book called Worldwide Sea of Grass. And that book, basically Robert Clayburg Jr. described how he did his properties, which was to clear off all the valleys and the side hills and leave all the trees on top of the ridges, and that gave it a more dramatic effect. And so we followed that plan, and my sons and I, we came up here and we used a topographical map, 2,250 rolls of surveyor's tape, and about 2.5 years coming up here on weekends. And so we've landscaped 844 acres is basically what we've done here.
Tony, being a family man, this ranch gives you a recreational value, and being a businessman, it gives you profit and even a legacy for your children. I think other people might be interested in recreating what you've already done. Where can they get this information on how to get started with Star 5?
How to get started with Star 5, they need to go to the Santa Gertrudis Breeders International Association down in Kingsville. I think it's located on the King Ranch now, and they can give them all the information I believe they would need on the Star 5 cattle.
Wonderful. Well, Tony, thank you so much for being here with us today. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
We're here with David Harris of Harris Farms. David, we're standing next to a wonderful set of crossbred females. Tell us about your operation.
We're a seed stock purebred breeder, but about 50% of our efforts are dedicated to the commercial side of things. With that said, we develop crossbred heifers, feed crossbred steers along with the rest of our steers, and offer buybacks to some of our customers with the right type of cattle.
Now, you talk about buybacks. What exactly is that?
We buy weaned calf crops out of genetics that we've either sold or we know the genetics. Usually they're out of Santa Gertrudis bulls. And we offer a buyback on the entire calf crop. Just like the sale barn, we'll give them a #1 price, whatever the cattle are selling for that day. And then we bring them back and we develop the heifers along with our heifers. And you know, we feed some percentage bulls, but a lot of those calves are steered and they go into our steer pens and we feed the cattle.
How well do Santa Gertrudis genetics work in the feedlot?
We've been really impressed with the results. I've known all along, you know, from work other breeders had done, how efficient the cattle would be in the feedlot, but our cattle have been probably gaining, and we've had several pen history, anywhere from 3.5 to over 4 pounds a day in the feedlot, and the cost to gain on those cattle have been running somewhere between 65 to 70 cents.
That's wonderful. Now talk to us about your Santa Gertrudis females.
We are in a weight business, and they will probably wean up as heavy a calf as any other, whether you're using a Star 5 or whether you're using a purebred. The flexibility that it also gives you is you're red in color by nature, so you're heat tolerant. You can virtually crossbreed the cattle with any bull out there, whatever you're trying to accomplish in your program. They will be easy calving as heifers, and they will raise you an extremely good calf. And when the cattle are mature, another real positive is you really don't have to background the steers. When the cattle come off the cow, by the time you get your background shots, they're about ready to go to the feedlot.
You talk about background. Can you explain that to us?
Well, when you wean the calves, you want to get them straightened out on feed, know what feed is, and get shots in them to protect them for when they go in the feedlot. They'll stay healthy. And a good friend of mine once told me the way to make money in the feedlot is gain 4 pounds a day and stay healthy, and I believe he's right.
You talk about gaining 4 pounds a day. What do the profits look like?
You know, we had some cattle this year that, you know, they came off anywhere from 13.5 to 1,400 pounds and brought almost $1 a pound. That makes you really, when the market's like that, if it was a consistent market, it almost puts you out of the bull business.
So you've also talked about the power of Santa Gertrudis bulls. What's been your experience in that?
You know, we've been pleased with the results. We've been pleased to market the bulls. The bulls designed primarily for the commercial sector.
So would you say that you have to have an excellent set of commercial females in order for the Santa Gertrudis bull to do his work?
They will work on anything. I mean, they will work on a mixed herd, and they will kind of uniform up your calf crop, and they will add weaning weights on the backside of your calf crop. And I think you'll be pleased with that at the end of the day.
Now, you've talked to me about having regular buybacks and regular customers.
Mm-hmm.
What can you say about what their testimonies have been to you?
They've been real pleased, and they've been pleased with the program as far as they know that they have a buyer for their cattle when it's time to wean. It's been a good business relationship because when it comes time for bulls, they give us a call.
And talk to us about maintenance of these cattle.
Well, they're extremely low maintenance. There's some people that have small herds that are in them every day, and as you go further south, the mid-coast down into South Texas, there's a lot of those cattle that aren't seen twice a year. They go in them and they wean the calves, but they've had Santa Gertrudis cattle for years and years.
David, you've spoken to us about how the cattle do down in South Texas.
Mm-hmm.
How do these cattle do in different environments?
Well, the cattle were designed for South Texas, Texas heat, but through the years, we found that the adaptability of the cattle, they'll go anywhere. I mean, we've got cattle in Canada, Colorado, just anywhere. They'll adapt to the climate, and then they'll grow hair. They'll grow hair that would surprise people.
Now, they'll adjust. What is their performance like?
You know, the performance holds up the same way. And I know that we, like our steers, we feed some steers south and we feed steers north, and we don't pick a particular time of year. If it's winter and they need to go to the Panhandle, that's where they go. And the steers have held up and done well up there.
Now, you've talked to us about profitability for big numbers, but there's also the fact that some people don't have large numbers in their herds. How are Santa Gertrudis genetics well suited for them?
If you do have a small herd, maybe you ought to consider finding a person that would work with you, because on the commercial side of things are done in truckloads, and you got to work yourself up to that. I don't care what kind of breed that you have. If you go to the sale barn and you have 1 or 2 calves and they're balling, they haven't been preconditioned, and they're going to get penalized no matter what. So the key is to get uniformity, to get a group, and to move cattle in groups. And that way a buyer can feel confident that these cattle can perform for whatever sector they're going to go with. So a small breeder might take that in consideration when they consider making a bull purchase, if they have a breeder that will work with them and possibly offer them a buyback or at least help them market the cattle. A lot of other breeds, our breed included, they help these people market their cattle, and that's, at the end of the day, you have to get the cattle sold and get the cattle sold for as much money as you can.
So Santa Gertrudis cattle in both the purebred industry and the commercial industry help bring up the bottom end?
Yeah, because in my opinion, in my world, it still comes down to a weight business, however you're marketing your cattle. At the end of the day, that middle cut and that lower end, it's going to come down to weight. And I think in my environment, in my ranching operation, I can produce more weight with Santa Gertrudis genetics than I can with any other breed.
And so Santa Gertrudis cattle can work with anybody?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, particularly the Europeans, and it's an excellent cross for those. There'd be some environments that you wouldn't want to probably use too much Brahman influence, but your Europeans and Continental, I mean, yeah, it's a perfect fit.
We're here with Justin Geisinger of Arrow W Ranch in Delaware, Oklahoma. Justin, tell us how you got involved with Arrow W Ranch.
Come from Colorado, moved down here a year and a half ago. There was a job opening and Vince hired me. I've been around Brahman influenced cattle most of my life. So the Santa Gertrudis was a different breed, but it wasn't that different for me.
And talk to us about the operation.
With leased ground, we have right around 1,500 acres. We run 250 cows. We have 135 Herefords, which we run our Gert bulls on, and then we have approximately 80 purebred Gert cows, which we run Hereford and Red Angus bulls on, and then I have another 30 head of heifers that we're breeding to put back into the herd.
All right, now you talked to us about your Santa Gertrudis bulls breeding your Hereford cattle. How have the calves been?
Calves have been great. I haven't had any trouble calving. It seems like they grow really well. Have good weaning weights coming off in the fall, you know, and there's really a good market for these heifers now.
Talk to us about what that means in terms of a maintenance standpoint on the ranch.
Well, I've been here a year and a half now, so I've weaned 2 different sets, and the first year I think I doctored 1 calf. After I weaned off the second year, this year I have doctored nothing. I mean, they seem like once they get up and get going, you just don't have any trouble with them.
Talk to us about high weaning weights. Why is that important?
Well, for the cow man, if you don't wean very high, you don't get as many dollars. And in this business, it's about dollars. Pounds equals dollars.
And what do you guys do with the calves that you wean?
We do a buyback program with David Harris. We use Harris bulls mainly, and then he buys back our heifers. And our steers, I just go right to town here in South Coffeyville.
And you talked to us about your purebred Santa Gertrudis females and that you're putting bulls on them. Can you talk to us about that side of it?
Well, we're kind of going a little more commercial right at the moment. We bought some Hereford bulls and a couple of Red Angus bulls that we're putting on our purebred females to get the same calves out of them. We'll still get the Star 5 calves out of them. Where we live right here, it's a little more profitable to raise a commercial calf than it is a purebred calf.
And how have the Santa Gertrudis genetics matched up with your crossbred operation?
I think great. The cows milk really well, so the calves, especially off the Gert cows, I mean, they're growers. They'll top 650 pounds come fall, so like I said, it's more dollars in our pocket.
Justin, if I was a commercial cow man and I called you and I was looking for some animals to buy, what would you tell us about the cattle that we're seeing here today?
I'd tell you that they're the best of both worlds. With the cross between the Gert cross and the English cross, you get a lot of heterosis. In this country, they're very heat tolerant, they're cold tolerant, they milk very good, they're just really good cattle.
You've talked to us about taking the cattle into the sale barn. How have they done?
I took a set of steers in last year and they sold at the top of the sale right along with any black cattle, which, you know, I'm a firm believer in the red is coming back, but I'm a firm believer in good cattle are good cattle, no matter what color they are.
Justin, this has been a wonderful opportunity to get to see your operation, and you've given us some great information. We really appreciate you having us.
Thank you for coming.
We're here with Mr. Vince Westbrook and his father, Dr. Carl Westbrook of Arrow W Ranch in Delaware, Oklahoma. Dr. Westbrook, tell us how you got started in agriculture.
Well, I grew up in East Texas with the Brahman cattle, and there was 1 or 2 herds of Santa Gertrudis, and I took a liking to them, and so that's what I wanted to do.
How long have you been watching Santa Gertrudis cattle?
50 years, watching them.
Right. What have you noticed in terms of the last 50 years with the breed?
They've spread out practically all over the country. There's herds in most states of Santa Gertrudis now, and they're really contributing to the breed. So.
And in your professional life, what was it that you did?
Well, I started out as a VOAG teacher in Texas, and then I became a director at Branch College for New Mexico State University out of grants, and then head of a state VOTEC school in New Mexico. I worked for the NEA 1 year in Washington, D.C. He sent a 4-man team down to Colombia, South America, and I was the Ag Ed specialist on that team. And it was one of the most wonderful experiences I had in my life.
Also, don't forget, Dad, when you were with your background in agriculture, he was president of Lamar Community College, which he started their famous horse program there. And then when he left Colorado and was hired at Connors State, he was president at Connors State for 16 years, and then for 3 years he went out to Panhandle State. The Santa Gertrudis breeders approached Connors in the early 80s when your grandfather was one of the breeders, and also with the other famous ranches, that they donated a group of heifers, and the herd that they put together is something that we watched later in during my high school career.
Now, Vince, tell us a little bit about how you got involved with agriculture and raising cattle.
Well, I would think that probably being brainwashed by my father, and getting started in my career, we had been apart probably for 15, 20 years, and as he was winding down his career and I was getting going on mine, we had made the decision at one point we were going to build a ranch, and if we were going to build a ranch, we were going to raise Santa Gertrudis cattle.
So you've been brainwashed, but now as an educated man, how have Santa Gertrudis performed for you?
You're sitting here in the Osage, which has a lot of history, and a lot of the big ranches running black cattle thought that with my background being in tennis and a Division I coach, that they thought that we were all a little nutty. We were going to come up here and the first thing we were going to do is turn a Hereford ranch into a Santa Gertrudis ranch. So we kind of met halfway. We kept the Hereford cows. The timing was perfect. We were adding the Santa Gertrudis and buying a lot of the top Santa Gertrudis around the country, from your grandfather, from King Ranch, Harris, all the big names. We have cattle on this ranch from those ranches. 2 years ago, we did the national feed out in Kingsville, Texas, and we won one of the classes. So we were in the business 2 years, so we were very fortunate that we were able to win one of those classes, which is a national performance program.
In terms of efficiency, can you talk to us about that in the Santa Gertrudis breed?
Growing up in East Texas with a lot of rain, a lot of grass, a lot of timber, a lot of insects, they were among the most thrifty breeds. They just have some things that the other breeds don't have.
And now that you're up in Oklahoma, how are they doing?
They're doing great. Of course, there's also a few herds in Canada, so you find these cattle everywhere.
There are probably other people out there that have an existing breed that they're working with. Would you advocate adding Santa Gertrudis into their herd?
Absolutely. Whether you're a diehard Angus, red or black, or if the Herefords and your English breeds, I think the Santa Gertrudis really adds a lot of heterosis, and that's something that you get free. So if you're smart about your cross, I mean, that's something that adds and that makes money for everybody. If your cattle are breeding earlier, they're weaning a bigger calf, it's a pretty simple formula.
And how has the turnover been with your cattle? Are they breeding back each year and producing good calves?
I would say on an average, what do you think, Dad? It's been 85 to 90%?
Oh, yeah, at least that.
Yeah.
Tell us about the cattle that we see behind us.
Well, I'm glad you asked me that question. You have a vested interest here also. Of course, these cows came from your grandfather, and he was using top quality Hereford bulls, and as you see, the calves that have hit the ground, we'll have some calves here that'll wean 500-600 pounds on an average, which is we're very happy with. And it looks like these will probably be the best weaned cattle we've had since we've been in the business the last 4 years.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure getting to see your ranch and speak with you. You guys have great information, and I wish you all the best with your herding
operation. Thank you very much.
You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, we've heard some amazing testimonies about the performance of Santa Gertrudis cattle. Seed stock producers, commercial cattlemen, and feedlot performance, and so much more. These cattle were designed to perform, and they do. The bottom line, Santa Gertrudis cattle will add a valuable commodity to cattlemen all over the world. We invite you to check them out by visiting our webpage at www.santagertrudis.com and contact a producer near you.